Hi, everybody. Lee John here for Record Day, Record Vinyl Day, I should say. And I have quite a little bit of a collection here, which I'm just going to run through, which some of my favorites. I have so many records, albums. I've kept all my vinyl throughout all the years. So let me just start with this is one of the very first albums as a kid, because I'm going back in time, that I bought when I was a kid. And it's one of my favorite artists. He used to be one of the lead singers of the Temptations, the Motown group Temptations. And this is Mr. Eddie Kendricks. And this album is called My People Hold On by Eddie Kendricks. On it has some great tracks, Date with the Rain, If You Let Me, but also an all-time club smash dance floor hit, Girl, You Need a Change of Mind. And I think this was, put my glasses on for this one. I think it was 7 minutes 30, and this album came out in 1972, and I was in America at the time when this album came out. And this is an album definitely that's really significant, even lyrically today. It's a very, very poignant album. And it was produced by Frank Wilson, who produced the Supremes, Temptations, loads and loads of Motown artists. But they've got the Young Senators rhythm section. In actual fact, they contacted me not too long ago about doing something, which would be interesting. So there's some great musicians. And these were the days when you saw the lyrics, you saw the producers, you saw arrange it, you bought the instrumentation. Nowadays, you don't see much of that. The next one is one of my favorite artists of all time, yet again. It's Marvin Gaye, I Want You. Now, this is an album after I do my shows. This is what I put on. This is the chill out album. I Want You, Come Live With Me. Feel my all the love inside. And this was produced by Leon Ware, who was at one point living in the UK. I actually did a writing session with him once. I've got somewhere in my attic a demo that we did together. And yeah, this was produced by Leon Ware. Associate producer is T Boy Ross and Hal Davis. And T Boy Ross is the brother of none other than Diana Ross. And he co wrote with Leon Ware, I Want You. So this yet again has some of the same people, like on the Eddie Kendricks album, Eddie Bongo Brown, who was on the My People Hold On album. And you have Ray Parker Jr. on this album, Ray Parker Jr. from Ghostbusters and Radio, the group he was in, and Wawa Reagan, who's a great guitar player. Some Jay Graydon, who's also played guitar on this. Some great musicians on this. So this is another great album. One of my all-time bands that when I was growing up, and I actually got to see them in the late 80s because they were acoustically, rhythmically, vocally, very, very special group. And this is War, Deliver the Word. This is Deliver the Word by War. And they had a track that in the clubs used to really hit us. And it was amazing because it had, I think, with harmonica, percussion, some brass with the vocals, very percussive. And it was me and baby brother. And, it was very minimal, but when you hear it, you just get on the floor with it. And Gypsy Man, that's another track I loved on it. But they were a great group live as well as in the studio. And this is on the original albums for that. You don't get that nowadays. So that's the vinyl for War. And they also had hits like Galaxy and Slipping into Darkness and many, many hits, but they were a great live band. And I was trying to find one of my all-time favorite albums of Mr. Stevie Wonder, which is Songs in the Key of Life. But because I've got so many albums, I couldn't find where it was. But I remember when I came back from the States in the mid-70s, my brother-in-law introduced me to this album by Stevie, which was amazing. And this was Music of My Mind. And this has got Superwoman. Mary wants to be a superwoman. Beautiful song, and Evil, and Keep on Running. And it's produced by Stevie Wonder. I think it's one of the one of the first albums you had all the lyrics, and this was like, when was this album? This was 19, 73, I think, 72, 73. Let me have a look inside the vinyl. This says 1972. There you go. And Stevie was just finding himself as an artist. And there's some great tracks on here. Love Having You Around, Superwoman. I Love Everything About You, Sweet Little Girl, Happy in the Morning Sun. Girl Blues Seems So Long. Great album. And it's one definitely to check out. Coming forward, I do love live albums. There's so many live albums that I really used to listen to, especially when I was going on the road. And even now, that inspire me. And there's some writers, producers that I really love what they've been doing for many, 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 many years. And they are, and I got to see them at the Dominion Theatre in London. And this is Ashford and Simpson with their performance album. Most people know them for Solid, because that's, I think, one of their most popular songs. But they wrote and produced songs for Marvin Gaye, Diana Ross, Shaka Khan. This is them live. Ooh, live. Live. I think this is a very hard to get album, actually. And on it, they've got tracks, Bougie Bougie, which Gladys Knight, because they produced stuff for Gladys Knight and the Pips. Nobody Knows, which came from their Stay Free album, which I loved as well. You're All I Need to Get By, because they do this Motown of a medley of some of the songs they've done. You're All I Need to Get By. Ain't Nothing Like the Real Thing, Baby. Ain't No Man Line Up, which they also wrote. Landlord, which was for Gladys Knight. Clouds, of course, The Boss, which they wrote. Is It Still Good to You? Love Don't Make It Right, Found a Cure. Some great, great, great moments here. So this is definitely an album to check out, Ashford and Simpson live. And the musicians they have on it are very, very unique. I know they had an amazing drummer, Yogi Horton. And he played for Luther Vandross as well. And very, very wicked on it. And I think Ray Chu, keyboard player, which is really, really cool. Now, coming forward again, I had an album, an Imagination featuring Lee John album, called Retropia. And the reason it was called Retropia was because it had a retro feel to it. And there was a track called Utopia, which had all live instrumentation on it. If you check it out, it's a very special edition vinyl. I wrote 2 songs on here with Steve Nickel from Loose Ends. One's called Secrets, and the other one's called Do It Right Now. And I have a duet with Mike Lindup from Level 42. We did a version of the Stevie Wonder track Visions. And I also did a track with, oh God, my brain's gone. Anyway, I did a version of Police and Thieves, which is on here, which is the Junior Mervyn version. Junior Mervyn song, I should say, Police and Thieves. And I did a very special version of the AC/DC track, Highway to Hell. So this is a very interesting vinyl that you can get in your collection. And I've actually signed it as well. So if you go on my website, maybe we can do a little competition for you to win a copy of this vinyl album. And to end it all, let's go back to the 80s. Imagination, scandalous. Hey, there's Errol Kennedy, my drummer, Ashley Ingram, my bass player, and this is the Imagination album, Scandalous. Some people forget this album, but this was actually quite popular. We had a big hit, New Dimension, and in America, we had a big track called State of Love, and we also had a big hit in Africa, of all places, because every time we go to perform there, they ask for this particular track called Shubidi-Da Dabadubi, This Means War. Especially in South Africa, even more in Mozambique recently, they went to see that. And there's some wonderful songs. There's one in particular called The Need to Be Free, which Ashley and myself wrote. And as you can see, this is a very 80s album look with the costumes, which we actually, this is King's Cross, actually. This is King's Cross Station, where they now have the Eurostar. And this is where the trains would come through, the old trains. And it became a photographic studio. And we did the whole photo session there. Next door to us, doing a session was Annie Lennox of Eurythmics. She was doing a session the same day we were doing this. So a little bit of history for you. So happy Vinyl Day. And just to let you know, on this album as well, produced by Tony Swain and Steve Jolly, who were my producers at the time, a lot of the songs, some of these songs I wrote coming back from Spain on a plane, funnily enough, because we didn't have enough songs. And I remember we wrote Looking at Midnight, which was one of our hits, in about 20 minutes as I was waiting to get a cab. And we were on top of the pops with it with Jeffrey Daniels of Shalimar. Another bit of insight. So, happy Vinyl Day. One album I did forget before I go is the Gorillaz present Song Machine. And on this Song Machine album, I am featured on one track, on track number 3, The Lost Chord featuring Lee John. This is a great album, which I had, really privileged to be part of with the Gorillaz. I thank Damon and all his crew. They're really a wicked crew. And on it, you've got Robert Smith, you've got Beck, you've got Schoolboy, you've got St. Vincent, Elton John is even up there, and Black. You've got Peter Hook and Georgia, Octavan, you've got Fatoumata, Kano, Roxanne, Arias, Slow Thigh and Slaves. Such a great amount of different artists, amalgamated into such a spectacular album. And we did a show together. We did a little mini tour, the O2 Arena. And we opened up, I believe, after the lockdown. So this is a very good album to get. And it was great being a part of it, participating in it. And yeah, a winner.